And I think if you're going to have racial discussions about race, we got to be willing to have tough discussions about race. We can't be afraid of feeling uncomfortable because, listen, we're talking about some serious stuff here, so it's going to get uncomfortable. But a lot of times, um, particularly white folks, don't want to feel uncomfortable. And so if you just take a look what's happening in the country right now, you've got them literally saying, oh, we don't want this taught in our schools. We don't, like, they in Florida, they literally made a law that to stop uh, teachings that make that make anybody feel uncomfortable. But it's made in direct response to white people feeling uncomfortable about so-called critical race theory and certain things in history, certain books. Like, you're making laws to protect your feelings, like that. That's just, if that doesn't yell out and denote, white fragility, I don't know what does. But white fragility is one of the things that comes up in this episode, because this um I forgot the name of the episode, but it starts talking about how, with January 6th, if there was a riot, if black people were engaged in a riot, oh, the riot police would show up, they would, people would get killed. And I'm like, okay, let's stop and realize that there were a lot of things that went wrong on January 6th, some things that may have been intentionally went wrong, but not everybody made it out alive either. Not everybody made it out alive. But if you look at things like they start talking about history, they start going back into history, and even just the language of something like a little white lie, that phrase. They're like, what does that mean, little white lie? And they're talking about how that is this image that if it's a white lie, it's good. It's not that bad. It doesn't hurt anybody. It's small. It's not a bad thing. Yeah, it's not true, but it's not a bad thing either. And then somebody says, yeah, well, if you want to talk about a little white lie, let's talk about, American history, because the lies that have been told about America's history, yeah, that definitely qualifies as this whitewashing that has been done. And they're doing it to make it seem as if, oh no, listen, nobody gets hurt by us telling these untruths, when in reality you're you're obscuring a whole bunch of bad stuff that happened, and a whole bunch of bad stuff that happened to a specific group of people. So that's why when we start talking about race, white people get uncomfortable, because now you're challenging the lie. You're challenging that white lie. But it's worse than that. And this is the thing that a lot of white people don't even realize. I like that Sonny Johnson talks about this kind of stuff, because when you start lying about history, like if you're going to lie about what has happened to black people in America, then you will be completely unprepared for when that same thing that has happened to black people in America now happens to white people in America. Because now you'll be like, oh, how's this going to happen? How can this happen in America? And black people are telling you, this has been happening. We've been trying to tell you. And the perfect case in point is 2020. If you look at 2020, from the summer on, black people are marching through the streets, protesting police brutality, government overreach, saying the government is out of control. They're just doing too much. And like in Staten Island, white people, they actually had a BLM and George Floyd protest, and white people in Staten Island did a Black Back the Blue rally. This is 2020, June of 2020, August of 2020. The white people get together, they do their Back the Blue. But yeah, Black the Blue, they're counter protesting the George Floyd protesters. By by December of 2020, those same white people are now protesting against the government because their stores and their restaurants are being shut down. Now they're talking about tyranny and government overreach, and now they're like, oh, this is how's this going to happen in America? And it's like y'all would just they were just telling you, black people were just telling you this has been happening, but you wanted to back the blue. Now it's happening to you. Now it's a problem. But that keeps happening because as long as white people want to pretend that injustices haven't happened and that what this government isn't capable of in the United States and has done to black people, they won't see it coming till it's too late. They won't see it coming till that boot's on their neck. And then what do? But if they were willing to acknowledge the reality of what's happened, then they can see, okay, wait a minute, this is going to happen to us next. Of course, because the government's not going to, once the government starts feeling a certain amount of power, they're not going to say, you know what, let's give this power back to the people. No, the government will keep doing it. They will go further and further. And if you just see what they're doing right now, like it's clearly evident. But as long as people want to pretend, no, this isn't going to happen to us. This just happened. It happened to black people. That's it, and it's over. Thank you for checking out this clip of Escaping the Echo Chamber. To check out the entire live stream, you can click on the screen now, or you can find the link in the description below.